Do you hear that? Would you lend me some coins, please? The In All Honesty podcast needs you to continue running. I will deeply appreciate support from you. You can send monetary contributions to my Mpesa +254 728 171 059 via PayPal at OLAVEORAWO. That is OLAVEORAWO. You can support the podcast indirectly by buying merchandise and services I offer listed on my WhatsApp catalog. My WhatsApp number is +254 728 171 059. Did you think I'd forget? Advertise with the In All Honesty podcast. Hit me up to talk about it. You can do that via WhatsApp +254 728 171 059 or via email OLAVEORAWO@gmail.com, or you can also DM me on socials at OLAVEORAWO. You know, the hand that gives will receive an episode every week. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. Me and Luoman promises like this. I told you this episode is coming in October and you have been waiting. But anyway, finally, I decided I'll give you an introduction episode in December and then we'll come back for the rest of the season 4 in January, right from around January 15th. I want the first episode will come out in January. I don't want to give you an actual date, but here we are. In case you don't even know where you are lost. Welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and this is finally season 4. We've been waiting for it. Of course, you expected to see guests, but I decided to do an introduction podcast episode first. So with that said, we still got mail. So we keep it interesting. We keep it in true fashion of the podcast. So I'm going to read. People are in dilemmas. And basically, let's see if you can help these people. And some of the people who have actually sent me letters are people who've gotten, after I read the letters, there are people who've gotten they've gotten linked to psychology specialists, or all that. And you also sometimes get advice because people in the psychology field are really nice and they'll just come to the comments or they come to my DM and give me some advice that then I can give to people who are going through dilemmas, and really bless them for that. Now, let's get to our mail for today. Hey, guys, it's tough out here. So, hi, Daddy. Let me think of a funny name. Jeconia. Jeconia is a male. Let's use Jeconia. So Jeconia says, "Hi, Olive. I'd like your opinion on something that's been bothering me. Please hide my ID. I'm female, 30, and I've never really been asked out on a date by a man. I've gone on a couple of dates, sure, but it only happens when I demand it. For instance, in online dating, when I insist on meeting the men out. But even then, I rarely get asked out on a second date. Recently, I went with my friend to a work event, and we happened to hang out with a bunch of guys from a different organization. That I frequently interact with professionally. One of the guys from the organization, let's call him Jay. Oh, that's so apt now that I called you Jeconia. Let's call him Jay. Had in the past flirted with me, but the rest of the guys showed no interest. However, when we showed up with my friend, they all seemed to be drawn to her. She got several invitations to lunch and drinks. Even Jay invited her to lunch. Now, here is what bothered me. Jay has never once asked to take me out. In fact, all the flirting that he has ever done with me has been overtly sexual in nature. One time he pulled me aside from an event to make out with me in the washrooms. I pulled away when things started getting steamy and later felt bad for allowing things to get that far. We've never gotten close like that again since then. So when my friend told me that Jay asked her out to lunch, it really irked me. So she's the girl he wants to take out to lunch, but I'm the girl he wants to fuck in the toilet. Oh, wait, I guess I'll bleep it. To be clear, I'm not at all jealous of my friend. I'm just wondering if there's something about how I present myself that makes guys not to treat me with decency. Please advise. Ooh. So first of all, I want to assure you that this is not unique to you. There's a lot of girls. There's literally a side of TikTok where it's just girls talking about being the girl who never gets picked. So just know that it's not unique. It might seem like you're the only one going through it when everyone around you is getting picked. Every girl around you is being asked out. So just know that it's not unique to you. I'm also the girl who never gets picked. So just chill. But first of all, I want to put it out there that first of all, Jay is disrespect. In fact, let's call him Jeconia because people with Bible names have bad manners. So Jay, first of all, is just a disrespectful man. And I don't think he even respects himself. If you're gonna have the nasty in a public toilet, do you even respect yourself? I'm glad that you didn't do it because I'm sure you'd look at that moment forever and just cringe. So first of all, I want to put it out that Jay is just a disrespectful person and it has nothing to do with you. So, and the fact that he asked your friend out, knowing very well that he had something with you earlier, I think it's just overtly disrespectful. But anyway, let's get to what some of these. As I've said before, I'm not in the psychology field, but I've been invested in learning about things within the psychology field. So these are just my thoughts of just random thoughts running through my head. So first, you said something about how you present yourself. So I don't think you should change that, especially if you're feeling good about it, especially if it's something you're comfortable with. How you present yourself, because some things are very, okay, here's the thing. What I wrote here is Dusties like homely women. They like women who look low maintenance. And sometimes it's not that you look exactly low maintenance. It's just that the way you present yourself. So I'll tell you why I'm also considered a very homely girl. So first of all, I have short hair and I rarely make my nails. And that I think sends out signals to broke men, and they're just out here like that one low main, that one is wife material, that one who doesn't have a budget for her hair. When in real sense, they just do not know that probably your money goes to something else because everyone has their own guilty pleasure. So maybe for you, it's not beauty and cosmetics. So when you talk about how you present yourself, just know it could be that. It could be that you give off a very homely vibe. You give off a very wife material vibe. And a lot of times you'll find that, hey, I don't know if I'm tying myself up, but a lot of times the girls men will spend on are not the girls they will marry. They like the girls who will stay at home and make the home and take care of the kids. So that's what they're looking for when they're looking at a girl who I want to keep at home. But the girl who he wants to go out with and have a good time with and pay for bills and pay for vacations, that's not the same girl as the wife. So you have to be also very careful when it comes to that. I really do not know. But I mean, I just feel like if you're the kind of person who gives a very homely vibe, it could be that. As well as women who are overly curvaceous, they look like Kim Kardashian without surgery. Those women are also they also rarely find love because men fetishize their body, and not even just men, everyone literally fetishizes their body. So they don't think of them as someone who I like. They think of them as a trophy that I can show off to. So if you're also the kind of person who has a very good, or maybe you just look extremely good, men want to use you for fetishes. So That could be one thing. These are my thoughts. These are just my thoughts. It could fall in any of this. The other thing that I've talked about actually in our previous episode, season 1, episode 2, we talked about sex appeal. And sex appeal, I didn't go to research if sex appeal can be acquired, can be learned. But I know sex appeal is some sort of aura. It's some sort of hypnotic aura. Some people have it, some people don't. I have zero sex appeal. And it has nothing to do with attractiveness. You could be the most attractive woman in the world without sex appeal. And there are people who have very high sex appeal, but they're not textbook pretty. So it has nothing to do with being attractive. It could be that also maybe you just don't have the sex appeal that draws men. Sex appeal draws people to spend money on women. So the connection is there, but I didn't do my research to figure it out, but you can also just look into it. And last but not least, this is the advice I always give everyone. This one I am sure of. It is the most difficult one to implement, but it does really help. Self-sufficiency. I found out that a lot of things that we look for in other people, just find them within yourself. So you'll find there's this admiration you're looking for. You're looking for compliments. You're looking for someone to tell you, hey, you're looking fire. You're looking for someone to tell you, you look beautiful. You're looking for someone to take you out on a date. Now, this is the method I went for as the girl who never gets asked out on dates. Well, now I do. And it's come when already when already I have self-love and high self-esteem. So I'm still not taking the dates. But when I was the girl who was not being asked out. So I got to the point where, but it's usually a journey. Before you get to that point, you have to realize first that I'm looking for something. I'm looking for validation. I'm looking for things in other human beings. And it would be really easy if you found those things within yourself. So I intentionally started doing those things. I was just like, okay, I want someone to take me. I feel like I really want someone to take me out. I'll go on a date. I'll just go on a date by myself. If I really want someone to buy me flowers, I've never been bought flowers, I'll go and buy myself flowers. If I want to travel, I want a vacation, but coming across a bay is hard. So I'll just go for a vacation, a normal vacation, and you'll just go on a solo trip by yourself. So if you start being if you start being intentional about finding the things you're looking for in other people within yourself, I promise you this is a proven method for me. It works. You will live a more happy life, you'll live a more fulfilled life, and you'll find that when you're not looking for love, then love will happen. And if you're those people who maybe you're still subscribed to the biological clock, because I know there are people like those. As much as I'll come here and tell you, oh, sijui love and light, love yourself, nini nini. For me, marriage and kids is not a priority. For you, it could be. So if marriage and kids is a priority, then just know that if this is how things are working, you'll have to be very calculative. You'll just calculate, do girl math, and tell yourself, okay, we won't find love plus the things I want. So you'll have to be very logical. Just sit down and tell yourself, I want kids by 35. I want this number of kids. I want a husband who can do this and this and that. Write it down. Go find someone who's compatible with you, because there's a man out there who's looking for a wife, who's looking for 2 kids by sijui what time. So figure that out. Find your person, settle down with them, make sure they're a decent human. Love will come later, because at this point, if that's what you're aiming for, if you're aiming to settle down and start a family, basically an arranged marriage would work for you. And that's why they worked back in the past. You just needed a decent person. They just treat you decently, they provide, they do everything, like all of you are complementing each other's, you contribute whatever to the relationship and you complement each other. So you have to decide, which of these things do you want? Do you just want a good time? Do you just want to be admired, to feel nice? If you genuinely want the attention of men, then you can also work on that, because I know there's a whole sprinkle whatever side of the internet that you can join. They'll train you. I don't know what color of nails you should have. I don't know how to sit, how to talk. They'll train you on all those things, how to get a man's attention, if that's what you want. if what you want is just genuine love, but you want the intention to come from men, then I'm going for self-sufficiency. Just love yourself, find all those things within yourself, and they'll come. If they don't come, well and good. For me, it's just like, I'll not die because it's not a priority. So figure out your priorities for yourself. But I'll tell you, it's not a unique experience. There are so many girls who are not the girls who get picked. There are so many girls who are just thought of to be, men only approach them for sex, and not any other thing. Like, it's not a date, it's not a that. There are girls who also just get approached for wifely duties because that's the vibe you're giving off. You look like the type who can sit home and take care of kids, right? So this still sits with you, but of course I'm putting this out, and you'll get advice on the comments. If someone else reaches out to me through my DMs and tells me something that I can refer to you as well, I will. Also, if you're open to therapy, there's different types of therapy. You can take up therapy, you can take up group therapy, you can take up self-therapy. Just like be intentional about feeling better about yourself. And I like that you pulled away from him when things got steamy in the toilet, because that's not a situation you want to look back to. Okay? So, that's our letter for the day, and it basically concludes our first episode of season 4. I hope it was a juicy one, and as we come back for the second episode, then there'll be more discussions. But with that said, do you think I've lied to Jeconia's girlfriend, Jeconia's whoever? You just tell me in the comments. Just give her all the advice that you can give her. Please remain respectful. Do not be hateful in the comments. This is something that happens to a lot of girls, and just because you don't get picked, decentralize romance, decentralize men from your life. And this applies to men as well. I'm not here to just like run a whole movement for women. This is for men as well, because there are men who also just don't get picked. And usually you see men who've decentralized women from their life, and they just focus on their career and their wealth, and they actually build a surmountable amount of like good wealth. And then now the girls can come because you can always buy love. But anyway, that should be it for this podcast episode. I came to just tell you that it's coming so that you don't feel like I'm still lying to you. I do not want to be my very own brothers, but we'll have a new episode coming up in January. And until then, I have been OLAVEORAWO. This is the In All Honesty podcast. And bye.
Next on the In All Honesty podcast.
Hello, it's me again, and I've started with, it's Thursday, I'm here for my In All Honesty podcast, so next week we'll be talking about, but anyway, now I'll just be doing it at the end of the episode so that you have it, and you send in your stories, your opinions, your thoughts, before we get to the next episode, and that will feed into that. So I'll be having guests from the next episode who will be talking about their own lived experiences as well as mine, and next episode we are talking about scarcity trauma. It's a word I learned after I had called it for the longest time poverty trauma. I didn't feel like it fit, but I didn't know what other word it was, so I found out it's scarcity trauma. And scarcity trauma is whereby you had limited access or zero access to something at some point, and now it's affected your relationship with that thing at a later time. Let me explain to you the most common one. For people who grew up poor, right? You find out that when they now have access to money in their adulthood, I've seen it goes two ways. Either they buy everything. They're just always, they are spendthrifts, and they buy and nothing is ever enough. And they don't remember the last time they wore a particular cloth, but they'll just buy more clothes. They'll just buy more shoes. They'll just buy more kitchen appliances. So it's like, I never had this growing up, so I'm just going to let it consume me. And the other people is that they continue with that trail. Now you have money, now you have access to money, but you still feel like you're still a miser. You still don't want to spend. You feel like money will end. You're always hoarding your money. So it could be those two things. So what is something that you had limited access to earlier on, And now how are you reacting to it? Are you those people who never ate chips growing up? So now every single day is you and KFC. Like this, like this. So tell me about your scarcity trauma stories. Tell me what you think about it. And you can also just give me your opinions as usual. You know, we're putting this up on my prompt. I don't know if it will still be Thursday, but I'll put it up on my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then you can interact with it. And if you want to send me a personal story in my DMs, that's OLAVEORAWO on all my social media, OLAVEORAWO@gmail.com.
I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.